Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, okay? He's been at every single offseason conditioning program. He's been at every single OTA. He's missing the mandatory minicamp. Now, that conversation with Saleh and GM Douglas, I believe, happened before OTAs, so they knew that this was coming at some point. I don't know if there was ever a plan on how we're going to roll this out, how we're going to tell people, what our answer is going to be whenever people say, hey, who's all here, who's not here? Hassan Reddick, who hasn't been here, he's been working his ass off.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
This guy, we know he's going to get after it. If we know anything about Hassan, he hasn't been here all off-season workouts, all the voluntary stuff. We know he's going to get after it. Aaron, though, yeah, he has something very important to him. It is inexcused, which we know is not a word, but it was inexcused. He's subject to fines and penalties. As soon as Coach Saleh says that, he knows that this is going to be a massive ordeal, right? Has to. And what are your thoughts as a diehard New York Jet fan and a member of the media who, as soon as you hear that, know it's going to be a massive story regardless?
I thought the one who had this exactly right yesterday was you, when you said this was something that could easily have been as close to nothing as possible, but Saleh made it into something. This is the second situation he's completely mishandled in this offseason. He had to be aware that people were going to ask him about all the reports that they had tried to replace offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett during the offseason, and he refused to answer the question and then said it's because he had addressed it previously when he actually hadn't. So he completely mishandled that, and he completely mishandled this. The very simple answer to the question is Aaron has been at everything. He has demonstrated nothing but outstanding leadership throughout this entire process. We're not the least bit concerned about this. He had something important to him to do. It's not going to have any impact whatsoever on us going forward, and we look forward to him being back soon. Dan Orlovsky speculated on Get Up this morning, Pat, I'm not sure if you saw it, that Saleh handling it the way he did yesterday suggests that there's somebody who doesn't like it, and we can only guess who that somebody might be. Is it the coach himself who doesn't like that Rodgers isn't there? Is it the owner who doesn't like that Rodgers isn't there? Is there some other prominent player, although I find that tough to picture, that isn't happy Rodgers isn't there? Personally, I have no issue whatsoever with Rodgers not being there. The leadership he has shown, the dedication to this he has shown from the second the Jets signed him. Look, there are a million different things people have criticized Aaron Rodgers about over the last year and a half, and I won't argue with almost any of them. But I think it is inarguable that he has been outstanding as a leader in every way that he can be and completely dedicated to the cause. So I don't have any problem if he had something big going on here, whether it's, now this is graduation season. I don't know if he's at the graduation of someone he cares about, or who knows what this is. We'll find out. Probably you'll find out before anybody else, because he'll come on your show and talk about where he's been. Fine. I don't have a problem with it. Saleh made it into an issue yesterday. I agreed with you that that was not well handled by him, but I do agree with Orlovsky's take that maybe the way he handled it yesterday suggests that while I'm okay with it, maybe down deep inside he isn't okay with it, or someone else important isn't okay with it.
Yeah, and it's very fascinating because in the NFL, these types of things happen. I mean, Tom Brady missed an entire training camp. Obviously, he had a lot going on at that particular case. He missed practice in there. But mandatory minicamp, especially if you have 100% attendance going into it, normally, I mean, 20 years into his career, you would think there would be at least some sort of conversation where they're like, all right, cool. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And people cut mandatory minicamp early, especially if there's 100% attendance, which there seemingly has been for the New York Jets, which leads me to this. Are you optimistic that it's all going to work out? Last time you were on, I think you said the only question you have about this Jets team is coaching. Like, that is really the only question. The roster seems to be loaded. The year's good. Injuries, obviously possible, but let's just say those aren't going to take place to your most important players. Coaching is the only issue. So, with the way this is handled in the first mandatory situation of the NFL season, is that still a worry of yours, or do you think this is going to be something that's going to be completely forgotten by the time the actual season starts?
This will be completely forgotten. Here's what the Jets
by
need.
who?
The Jets,
Aaron?
The Jets
Let's be forgotten by Aaron? I've not talked to Aaron, okay, because I don't want to know, because I got to go into this thing right here. So I enjoy speculating. You're right, though. We will find out at some point in the story that'll be told. It's going to be, I just can't wait to hear it, because it's going to be elaborate.
You need to text him. You need to text him and find out where it is he is. You need to. I don't have his number, and Lord knows Shefty and Diana Rossini don't have his number.
Diana's tweet this morning was awesome.
I didn't see it. What did she tweet? I missed it. What did she tweet?
She said, Aaron's an asshole. He could have been in football. Instead, something else is more important. Something along those lines is pretty much what it was. No, she didn't say asshole. I'm just saying the way it read was,
that was the tone.
He's an asshole of this entire thing, which Coach Saleh had to know was going to be here it is. Aaron Rodgers is skipping all of Jets mandatory minicamp this week because he prefers to be somewhere else away from football. That's his choice. All right, so kind of how I summed it up is what she said. But that is an accurate take, I guess, on the situation. But the fire could have been put out immediately by Coach Saleh, who understands that he didn't want it to be. So maybe Dan Orlovsky's accurate as well. Maybe he's speaking for numerous people. But all those people know that if Aaron doesn't play football, they're all fired. So it's an interesting dynamic over there for sure. Do you think he shows up at any voluntary shit next year if he's still on the Jets? No chance.
I'm so not worried about next year. Like, next year is another lifetime away. Can we just get to this? This is what I was starting to say a minute ago. Is the Jets need a button that they can push that just gets us to the start of the season. From the fourth play of last season, they were doomed, and the only thing that could rescue them was the following year starting, was Aaron having the time to heal, which he's now had, and starting again and seeing what they can do. In theory, they should be better now than they were then. They've added innumerable pieces to their roster, including Hassan Reddick, who they got to get in camp, who's holding out for entirely normal reasons, which is he wants a new contract, and that's fine. Hopefully they get that figured out. They should be better. They need to just push a button and get to the start of the season. Nothing good can happen between now and then. They need to get on the field because, in theory, on paper, everything they have should be really good. So to go all the way back to your first question, yes, I'm confident so long as Rodgers isn't mad at the way this has been handled. See, here's the one thing about Aaron. And you know him infinitely better than I do. But what is obvious is, like, he's sensitive to stuff like this. So if you think it's curious the way Saleh handled it, and I think it's curious the way Saleh handled it, I worry that maybe he thinks it's curious the way Saleh handled it. I mean, I got to stop worrying. This is driving me nuts.
That's a good word.
Can we just have a football season for crying out loud?
I think you're in the accurate lane there, though, a little bit. Now, once again, I've not talked to him about it, and Saleh said he has not talked to Aaron about it. Which
Even better.
You Jets are awesome. The Jets are. Here's Coach Saleh talking about whether or not he has chatted with Aaron.
There was a lot of craziness that came off with Aaron's absence yesterday, as expected. Did you have any contact with him? Like, talk to him after between yesterday and today?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so they haven't talked. Now, who knows where he could be in a TP somewhere. We have no idea.
He could be.
We have no clue where he could be, and maybe he's off the grid. He could be in a hole.
Yeah,
he literally could be in a darkness. Yeah. We have no idea. Like AJ Hawk, who knows him better than any human on earth, and I thoroughly mean that when I say that. AJ Hawk knows him better than any human on earth. He comes on, he goes, he could literally be anywhere on earth right now. He could literally be anywhere on earth right now. And I don't even know if AJ knows, or AJ definitely knows he's not going to tell anybody. It's like, so maybe they just haven't been able to be in contact, and maybe Aaron is able to just kind of move on from this, but I feel like it was a ball dropped just for no reason. You're just adding extra shit for no reason in a season in which there was a bunch of shit last year. Let's reset this and go. 100% attendance throughout every voluntary thing could easily just be like, yep, got him, he's all good, he talked to us, we're all eyes on the season. But instead, the Jets are going to do Jet stuff, but let's hope it moves on. Ty has a question for you, Greeny.
Yeah, Greeny, so, I mean, obviously, if they don't win, everyone's going to be gone regardless. But yesterday I was kind of thinking, like, hey, even if they do win the Super Bowl, there's a chance they're still going to shit can Saleh because every time he opens his mouth, he has to put his foot in it. You know, not too long after. Given Bill Belichick's affinity for Rodgers and Rodgers' affinity for Belichick, do you think even if they are very successful this year, maybe not win the Super Bowl, do you think that's something that they may entertain? Is, hey, no matter what, we're going to go after Belichick. We want to pair him with Rodgers, and then we have a guy who knows how to, handle the media. We don't have to worry about him saying something and then having to kind of, react to it again the next day because he said the wrong thing. Like, because this window is so tight with Rodgers, do you think there's a chance that they kind of just say, all right, we really are going to go all in and let's go after Belichick maybe at some point during this season or after the season's over?
I'm trying to think of the right way to respond to that. There is nothing on planet Earth Less likely to happen. Aaron Rodgers is more likely to get vaccinated on national television and hold a special than Bill Belichick is to accept the coaching job of the New York Jets. Bill Belichick, for anyone who knows him, hates the Jets. If you ever saw the Big Bill and Little Bill, that thing that he and Parcells did together? He wouldn't even walk into the Jets locker room, but they were back in the stadium that the Jets and the Giants share. They went into the Giants locker room. He wouldn't walk into the Jets locker room. He hates the Jets. Ask any of the former Patriots. They all hate the Jets because Bill hates the Jets. There's nothing I can think of in football less likely than Bill Belichick accepting that job. I understand the reason you're asking, and in theory, it makes sense. I do think Bill will be back in coaching next year. I think the job he would love to have is the Giants if that doesn't go well for them this year. So maybe he's back in the building.
You're acting as if you don't know. Maybe nobody actually knows, AJ.
I mean, you're right. I don't know. Whoever he is with, like, how many people is he with?
I don't know who he is with.
There it is.
You heard it.
I doubt he's by himself. I doubt is he soloed, traveling the world? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Like, it even matter. Like, okay, so when he comes back, whenever he does speak, is he going to tell people where he went, do you think? He doesn't have to.
I doubt it. And I don't know if you saw us talking to Greeny. Greeny was like, I feel a certain way about the way Saleh answered this question. You feel a certain way about the way Saleh. We can assume Aaron feels. And I'm like, yes, Greeny, that is. Which is why we all think it's just so stupid. Like, in New York how it's going to go. You know exactly the type of human that Aaron is. Aaron's been there for 100% of your shit. It's voluntary. It's like, I still, one day removed from this, think it was a very stupid way to handle it. But I'm not a head coach of an NFL team. I'm not a one who's maybe not trying to set a precedent for future people. We don't know what Coach Saleh, why he chose to do it this way. But that was on purpose, and we think it was stupid, is how I feel. AJ, one day removed from it all. Do you have any thoughts on it? And do you think this makes Aaron better at football? Or do you think he uses this as like spite motivation, which we have certainly
towards his own coaching staff, though? You're just saying he used it as spite motivation because of his own staff and how his head coach handled it?
So I guess coaching staff, it would be first, but front office draft Jordan Love, and he went on to win 2 MVPs back-to-back after that takes place. They get to the NFC Championship again. It's like, will this be something he is able to flip into motivation against his own head coach?
I mean, I understand what you're saying. The spite motivation when it comes to like the front office, I think that's something that you can use in kind of a healthy way for a period of time. But if your spite and your chip on your shoulder is towards your head coach, I don't think that's a great combination. I think that eventually does not work.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Personally, just trying to find some positives here because, there is a chance. And he said he hasn't talked to Aaron since. It's like every day it gets worse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every day it gets worse. And, that's off-season football, baby. I guess that's how it is. That's a conversation piece. Green Bay Packer owner Ty Schmidt.
Well, I was gonna, like you said, the guys that get excused for showing up 100% of the time. Like it just got reported yesterday, the Packers, LaFleur basically Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney and a couple other guys. He was like, "Hey, you guys are good. You were here 100% of the time. Don't worry about it. We've seen all we need to see. Enjoy the next couple days off."
LaFleur did that on purpose.
That's what I thought when I saw
that. Was certainly on.
This is perfect.
The fact that the Green Bay Packers are the other team that's like, you know what, we had a couple vets.
Yeah.
They haven't been around 20 years or won 4 MVPs or anything like that.
Not playing quarterback.
Awesome. He's boys with Saleh, though. He and Saleh are super tight. Weren't they in each other's weddings?
True.
Oh, so LaFleur sees that.
Yeah.
They trolling each other.
I'm going to stick it to him. I'm going to stick it to him so good.
Oh, man.
I hope so.
That's awesome that it was the Packers that did that.
Yep. Fantastic.
Well, granted, it's not abnormal, though. I think some people who hate Aaron Rodgers are acting like this is abnormal. Like people missing mandatory minicamp, which is the last OTA of all of the scheduled OTAs. The only reason why one is considered mandatory, and they had to make it that way, is so that they could find people that miss all of off-season workout. You have to at least show your face one time. You're a professional athlete. You're going to do it at the mandatory minicamp. So for him to show up at 100% of the voluntary shit, he's never going to do that again.
No.
Why would he?
There's not
a chance.
No chance of that happening again, which is a bummer because it sounded like he was having a blast.
Yeah.
He's doing these no-look passes. He's having fun. He's celebrating with the boys. He's doing it all. I think he feels as if and once again, you can stop me if I'm wrong here because you know the answer to all these things, which we all know. We know that you know. And the people watching know that I know that you know. So they know that whenever I say stuff that you know, we're all looking for you to confirm whether or not what we know is right.
Bingo.
Right?
That is correct. Yes.
And you guys know that.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
100%.
I don't know if I follow. I don't know if I follow it all.
You do know.
Yeah, see, this is another one of those things, AJ.
Yeah, you're just answer a question with a question.
I mean, okay, so you think if for some reason they're talking about Aaron to start off the news day, as we said, Greeny is the rudder for the sports media world.
That's right,
Absolutely.
he is the rudder.
He sets us, he puts us in the direction that we all go and we all follow Greeny and what he decides is important. But you think I'm just sending text every time Greeny pops Aaron's name up?
You tell me.
Well, you probably don't want to interrupt.
What's the deal here, bud? What's the deal here? What do you think, Greeny? Is this a big deal? What's
They call him Aaron Dodgers this morning. They called him Aaron Dodgers on the back of
creative.
It is a good name. And they even, I think they whitened out his face.
That was cool.
Whitened out his face. They did the whole thing. It was pretty creative. It was good. I would like to see how Aaron, yep, there it is.
Boy.
Call him Aaron Dodgers right there. He has heard about how Coach Saleh has dealt with this, you think? Did he know that it was going to be as publicly unexcused, you think, with the way and would he have still went, you think, if it was going to get handled this way? These are all your opinions, obviously not Aaron's.
Those are all good questions. I mean, yeah, I'm sure whatever he is doing, he would have he knew like what possible backlash would come from it, or people would ask questions why he's not in a mandatory thing. So yeah, he thinks through everything. He's very calculated in what he does, but also I think he doesn't worry about a lot of it too, because he kind of knows the situation he is in, and he knows like whatever happens, yeah, like it's going to be something. So I don't think it like alters his decision making and what he does.
Yeah, I don't think he knew that this was going to be handled this way.
No way.
No.
I don't know. Once again, this is not me with information from the source says. This is me just saying, like, there's no way that he expected his head coach to throw him under a bus whenever he was going to miss a minicamp. He had to have thought that there was going to be a little give and take. You would assume that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume when they had this conversation and he let Saleh know that he wasn't going to be there, Saleh was probably like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, all good.
Yeah, all good. Don't worry about it.
Thanks for coming in and letting me know, as opposed to, like, we don't want to turn this into a big media thing, so I appreciate that. And then
Aaron goes into his darkness retreat.
Yep.
And then he comes out of it and he goes, Bob, you didn't do anything.
What the hell?
What are you doing?
Bob, this is not how, which is what happened at the Packers.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're only a year removed from that. It's not like that happened early in his career with the Packers. Like, he legitimately got to the Jets a year ago, basically.
Is he on a darkness retreat, AJ? Didn't he say he's not doing that ever again?
Yeah, he said he was good, right? He said, yeah, I got a lot out of it. It was great, but I don't need to do that again anytime soon.
What a wild thing, because anytime you're without your phone or something, you always are worried that something's going to happen and you're not going to be able to find out. Like back in the day, so many terrible things happened and people didn't know until like 4 days later because just communication wasn't possible. But now, when you have your phone on you, you assume that you could be able to keep up with everything that could take place. When you're without your phone, that is the fear. Like, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him. He goes into that hole. What's he miss? Well, the Green Bay Packers have a whole new strategy going into next year, and this is how this. He gets out of there. I assume his phone. He just starts going, whoa. What the fuck happened? I didn't know. That's why I would assume I wouldn't go back into a hole either for 4 days if that's what happened last time.
Well, and that's what's crazy is how similar it is. It's like if that was the conversation with Saleh, like, hey, don't worry about it. It's the exact same thing. Like, told one thing, and then a couple days removed.
Why didn't this guy trust anybody?
Yeah, exactly. Why does he act like this?
Why?
Did any local media ask him? Do you think any media members asked him during his time when he spoke throughout OTAs, like, hey, are you going to be at minicamp? They may be regretting that now. If you could have asked him, he probably would have said, like, his plans maybe.
Oh, we could have learned where the hell he is. AJ, one last opportunity before we move to a legend here in the basketball world. Where is Aaron Rodgers, AJ?
I mean, take a globe, spin it, put your finger down. He could be there. We don't know.
All right.
You do, though. Like, that's what's so irritating.
You're saying we don't know because you're
don't.
implying that I don't, which you're adding, you're lumping me into
Okay, I do not know, but if for some reason I did know, wouldn't it be like a security risk if I told people?
Probably not.
That's really nice of you.
Yeah.
Don't be dropping his pin on this show. That is a good
Put his
idea.
address out there.